Daddy.
Yo, wait, let me.
Papa Daddy.
Yo, what up?
Papa Daddy.
What up?
Papa Daddy.
What up? What
Oh,
up?
Iceman and Rodriguez. Of
Yes.
course, with
Welcome back.
Rod.
Masha.
Is that a Yoda language? Or
Yep,
dialect?
that's
The Yoda
the
dialect?
rod. That's the Jego Yoda dialect. That's
Right.
right. That's right. So happy Saturday, man. Oh, it is Saturday, right? Saturday.
It is Saturday.
Yeah. Show the. Hello. It's a dragon. Whatever it is. Dinosaur. What's up? Look at him. Like, look at me. I mean, we were at the beach earlier, and I think I'm gonna get super dark tomorrow. I mean, I'm not like it hasn't hit me yet, but look at him. He's barely dark, if ever, if any. Oh, and there's the wifey. So I guess that's where he got the color from.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky
So
you.
okay,
How
hold on.
about
What were we?
how about Raj? How about Raj?
Raj is also he's not. He gets dark, but you know that it's dark from somebody who's fair, and then they got dark. I'm like
Right.
dark, and then I just get darker. You know what I'm saying? It's like it just gets worse. I turn gray. So what were we gonna talk about? Did we have a topic ready already?
Bandwagon.
Oh
Bandwagon.
yes, that's right. Perfect. Perfect. Sabay sa uso. Mga sabay sa uso, right?
It has been a while. Patrick, I have a question. Are you one of the haters of Chot Reyes, or as they call him, Choke Reyes? I just want to know. I've seen your
You're not
tweets, but I
over.
forgot.
You're not over that yet, huh, Ice?
No, because I keep on reading about these things on Facebook, on
Hey,
Twitter.
don't touch. Don't touch.
It's there every
No.
time. It's just annoying now,
Hi.
and I don't know what
Hi.
to. I don't know what to believe,
What's up?
right? Because I mean,
Jago.
growing up back then when I was
want
still
the
watching the
apple.
PBA, I know that Chot Reyes was a good coach,
I
right?
want the apple.
I think he started as an assistant before he became a head coach. I think he was Tim Cohn's assistant. Then eventually he
Mm-hmm.
became a head coach. Right. So, and I'm pretty sure that he was a pretty good, he was a pretty good
I want
coach.
the apple.
And I stopped watching the PBA. Then I think he took the national team to a silver medal. And now that they lost, they're kind of like bashing him. I mean, it's just bizarre, right? Right. Phil Jackson won championships, but there were also times that when he went to the Lakers, they didn't really like went to the championship the first year.
No,
And after he
no.
got bashed for that, so it's
That's
kind of
right.
weird. I mean,
That's right.
that's how it is. That's basketball. Even though you're a really good coach, I mean, right? I mean, what can you do? You just have to roll with it. Like for example, Eric Spoelstra right now. Oh, he's not
Yeah.
winning championships, right? I mean,
Yeah.
no one's
Well, they made
bashing him.
they made it to the playoffs, and for
Yeah,
for a
now,
team
but
that barely
for the
has anybody, did
past
pretty well.
2 years, they were they were in
Yeah,
the
they
finals.
were just they were not accusing, but they were just labeling him as somebody who won a championship because of LeBron. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not the coach. It's like because he had LeBron or he had Wade and Shaq at one time. Oh no, that wasn't him. That was Pat Riley. But regardless, okay. So let's just read Patrick's first message. I took the bandwagon train for Australia. Boomers, Joe boy, what's up? Okay, so we're talking about bandwagoners. Mga sabay sa uso, people who probably I wouldn't say they're not principled. Or they just don't have their own thing. All right, that they stand for. Doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. I mean, you don't have to have your thing to stand for in everything. I mean, if it's sports, that's such a it's not really like a life or death thing. So you can cheer for any team you want, but there are people out there who are just like loyal through the end, through thick and thin. Whether they're Noranians, Vilmanians, or Lakers fans, or Dub City fans, whatever. There are people who just remain loyal to their team for whatever reason it may be, and there are those who are only fans because, well, only fans, not the site, but only fans because everyone else is, or because they know that they're part of a winning tradition. So that's what we're talking about. All right, for Joe Boy, Patrick, and everyone else joining in. And Ice is kind of troubled with the fact that Chot Reyes is getting a lot of uh, flack, and he got fired, right? Ice, was that it? He got fired as coach.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he was fired. People want him. People want him to retire or resign, step down as a coach. That's what they want him to do. I don't think he's doing it. I mean, if
Yeah,
I'm
well,
Chot Reyes, I'm not doing it.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
who are
F
these
you
people?
all.
Who's telling him to step down? I mean, are these people who know about basketball? Are these people who were just like upset because the team didn't win or whatever? I mean, who are these people, right? It's still at the end of the day,
I know. I
he knows
know.
himself better than everyone else,
I
and I
mean, the
think
internet, it's just like stupid. It was like hear a lot of people saying things, and I'm like, really? Like, what team are you coaching? Like, what do you know about coaching? Like, what do you know about
exactly,
basketball?
exactly, exactly. I mean, okay, here's the thing. For example, when Pacquiao lost to Marquez or when Pacquiao lost to Ugas just recently, I mean, are people telling Freddie Roach to stop training Pacquiao? I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like people just accepted it. It was just like that
Fine, yeah. I mean,
freak
that
fight
wasn't his
where
match,
right?
and it's
Nobody cared.
probably. I mean, he's probably gotten old. I mean, we don't know, right?
Yeah.
But
So I mean, yeah. I mean, he lost to like decisions to Bradley. He lost to Jeffrey Horn in Australia. No offense to you, Patrick. You know, people just still stood by Freddie Roach, and Pacquiao still stood by his trainer, and he won more titles after and won more fights after. So I think that's the thing. It's just if you're just gonna give in and replace everything at the first sign of trouble, then you're never gonna. Oh, he's so sweet. Establish anything. He's so. Yeah, you can kiss Tito Ice when he visits. You can kiss Tito Ice. That's the thing with this kid. He's so like super like active and everything, but he's also very sweet. He's super lamig.
Bye to the eyes. High five.
High five.
Um, high.
Say konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Say goto neto.
Konnichiwa.
Kodonino.
Goto neto.
That's not Japanese.
Say
Kodonino.
That's
alo
your
ogels.
dad.
Say alo ogels.
Yeah.
Ohab gulti.
Goldie.
Tosip. Boy tosip. All right, go ahead. Go. Yeah, he's had a long day. Him and Raj. We went to the beach earlier because a friend who is now based in Florida. Shout out to Lab Lab to Jeffrey Galang. No, not Jeffrey Galang. Jason Galang. He's here with his daughter, and he treated us to lunch at Paradise. So hey, any opportunity to bring the kids to the beach and not have to spend a cent, we'll take it. All right. So thank you to the guy, and then they just got back home from my in-laws because it's the wedding anniversary of my Mama Merla and Papa Edwin. So
Happy
happy
anniversary.
anniversary. Yeah, it's their 30th 39th. So my wife is 38. So at least we know they were married before she was born.
Right.
Yeah, but probably like with a baby bump. All right, let's read Patrick's response.
All right. The thing with the national team right now is that there is already a good program under Tab Baldwin. All right. Here's a Baldwin fan. And then suddenly the management just sacked him for a variety of reasons. For example, Tab allegedly encourages players to go overseas like 30 Ravenna, which angered the PBA. This is not true.
Mhm.
Well, if it's true, then I would have to just congratulate Tab for that. I mean, that's just a good thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like encouraging your
Yeah.
player to level up or something, right? All right, okay, and yeah, and then the management appointed Chot Reyes again as the head coach. The national team program is on a reboot again, knowing that the FIBA World Cup hosting is near. The losses just exacerbate what? What does it exacerbate? All right, okay. There's a second comment coming up. All right, okay. So all right, I get it. All right, I get it.
I'm amazed at Patrick's knowledge of Philippine basketball, considering he's been in Australia for for God knows how long, and he's still up to.
But anyway,
We're not
okay,
even
what
updated.
was the no? So what's the context of our topic again? Like the bandwagoners.
Yeah, the bandwagon.
We,
We're just
we
basically
talked about like I think NBA teams. Right, just to
it could be
before we
NBA
ended the show last
teams.
time.
It could
Right,
be sports
and
related.
you
It
asked
could
me
be
if I'm a solid fan, but I'm like, no, I'm not. But I'm not a bandwagoner. I'm just like, I have to pick a team. I mean, is it such a bad thing to pick a team? I mean, you don't have to. I mean, if your team doesn't really make it, then you pick a team, right? I mean,
Mhm.
for example, if I like the Lakers a lot and if I like the Celtics a lot and they didn't make it, does that mean I should watch? I should just like stop watching the NBA now So I can't. So
Hmm.
I have to pick a team because I enjoy basketball. I like basketball, and I love watching it. And I have to pick a team. So that I mean, you're watching a game. You have to pick a team. Like
Yeah,
even when I was a kid, it's like blue and red. I pick. You gotta pick, right? Even my daughter right now, like she
yeah,
picks. Like she's watching something. She's like, oh, I like the white team. And
yeah.
you got it. I mean, that's not
Yeah, like
bandwagon.
my
It's like
mom, I like her because she's guapo. Like my sisters, they would always their favorite athletes are always the good looking ones. My sisters follow FIFA football, and they all know the Spanish players and all these whatever because there are a lot of football players who apparently are their type. So my sisters are like that. So I don't know if they're bandwagoners, but like you, they might not know a thing about the teams, but they have to pick. And I think that's okay. You're accepted in that case. So I guess for people who, let's say, casual fans, there's a term for that online. It's called casual, right? Oh, bye bye, baby, love you. Oh, you're not complaining anymore, huh? You wanna call it a day, love you, not. So yeah, and casual. They call it casual, right? So if it's like something if you're fanboying over, let's say, a team, or it could be a movie series or a Netflix series like Stranger Things or whatever, and there are people who are hardcore following that stuff and know everything about it, and there are those like me who, like, let's say, watch a few episodes here and there and know a little bit about it. I'm more like a casual Stranger Things fan, but I am a hardcore, let's say, Entourage fan. I mean, I know that series because of you, mainly, a lot more than Stranger Things. But I'm not necessarily like I'm not a bandwagoner. I try to avoid it, actually. Like shows like Entourage, not very popular here in the Philippines. I know a lot of guys out there probably have seen it, but unless you really exerted effort to find the DVDs or downloaded it or whatever, you'd be missing out on that. You had to tell me about it. So I'm not a bandwagoner because I liked something that wasn't really very popular here to begin with. All right, let's read Patrick's. Go ahead, Ice.
In the Olympic qualifying tournament last year, the Tab Baldwin coached national team took the mighty Serbia to the wire. Now, Philippines bagged silver in SEA Games, and in the FIBA Asia Cup, Gillis could not even qualify for the quarterfinals. This really angered the Pinoy basketball fans, including me.
Hmm.
All right. I mean, yeah, okay, I got it. But should we put all the blame on Chat Reyes? Now, this is my question. I mean, is it fair
No,
to just blame him for all the things that like we didn't achieve this year?
I mean, well, okay. Before people like point fingers at the guy, right? Whoever these people are, what are their basis for blaming it on him? I mean, did he make decisions that was crucial to the benefit of the team? Did he do anything? Was he lacking in whatever um, training
Because okay,
regimen, whatever? What was it?
I've seen the scores, and it's like what, like a 20-point lead. It was like a blowout game. It's not like it's a 3 point, 5 point game match, right? So it
Mm-hmm.
was like I mean, so it's not. I don't think that's coaching. If it's like a 2 points, 3 points, like
Yeah,
difference
it's like
game,
a last play
that's
something, and they made
yeah,
bad decisions. Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah. I
would say
agree. I
like
agree.
okay, that's a coaching thing, right? You have all the talents and shit, and it all boils down to coaching and the sequences and like the whatever the communication that you have with your players. But if it's like 100 whatever to 80 whatever, then that's like well, I don't think that's coaching. It's just like
That's the
like
Phoenix
I
Suns
mean,
versus the Dallas Mavericks.
I mean that's just like lack of talent, I guess, right? Because that's my mentality. If it's coaching, I would have to say that all right, it could be like play by play, and like comes down to the last sequence, last few seconds who like the best coach would win. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a mind game. It's like it's the mental toughness and shit. But if it's like
Hmm.
an 80 plus, 100 plus over 80 plus, that's just kind of like I think you can blame the coach. Some
Yeah, I
experts
mean,
called Chat Reyes' system is not good anymore, considering how other countries have improved over the years. Okay,
what's the
so I've
system?
read that. I've read that. Like they said, his system was like I'm like, okay, what's okay, Patrick? Kindly explain to me, like his system and the FIBA now. Like, how is it different from
His
what
system
he's
is a
doing?
palakasan system, padrino system.
Yeah, whatever. Like, if that's how you feel, then tell me, because I've read that too. Like people would say that he favored the Ravenna brothers. Like they would just like give him the ball or whatever, and he's not
Or
playing
maybe he
this
was
one
close to
guy.
Bong. Maybe he's close to Bong.
Could be, yeah. There's this guy who's like, what was that guy's name that who got benched, and he wasn't
Hmm.
really like using him a lot. So I mean, there were comments like that. So well, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So can you explain to me, what kind of system he you know he imposes on his team, and what is the current system now that most of the FIBA teams uses? So yeah, just like tell us and enlighten us, because me, like even up to now, like I can't. Yeah, I mean, I still can't dig the step back thing. Like I hate that. Like people who do step back, I just don't have respect for people who do step backs and shit. Because like that wasn't a thing during my time,
You
right?
mean like
Fadeaways and
what Harden
right,
and
like
Luca does?
yeah, I don't like that. Like it's
Okay,
just not.
okay, why is it? Why is it like for you
I just
like
think it's
not
funny. I just think it's
okay?
funny. It's like
So
it
it's not
looks
like it's
funny.
not effective or anything, right? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, it's effective. Like clearly, it's effective
it
because they're
looks
really
like
good
it's
players.
traveling, doesn't it? Like I like
Yeah,
because I mean
that's
for
the thing.
me,
It
if
could
you
be because I'm
it
coming from
looks like
that
it's traveling
era.
because back in the day, if you did that, like you had the ball and then you like took two steps back and then like that
It's
literally for
traveling.
me would seem like
I
it's
have an issue
traveling.
with
But
that up until now.
they have all these deception moves now in the NBA where the ball it seems like it could be carrying, but it's not. It's not considered carrying, right? You know the when your ball
Right.
like you
Even the
scoop it like
step back.
this,
Like
like
I thought, yeah, I was like, what that's not traveling. All right, okay.
yeah.
They call it the dribble drive offense. People are saying that other countries can already read our offense and defense. His system is predictable. They call it the dribble drive offense. What's a dribble drive offense? Like you dribble, then you drive?
Yeah, I mean, probably typical
All
PBA
right, hang
style, you know.
on. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not a coach, and I wouldn't pretend that I'm really good at whatever, like basketball. I play basketball. I'm kind of like skillful in a way. I
My,
was at a varsity. My my
my
my
son's
my,
playing
my
2K, by
brothers
the way,
were. Oh, all right. See, there you go. Ah, playing
basketball.
basketball, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
we just got Endgame LeBron and Invincible Jordan. Those are two of the best cards in the game, and I
Nobody
wait
can beat them. Nobody can beat
I
them if
was
they're on
I
the
was
team.
bidding the whole day for those cards, and I finally got them just before they got home. So you
So,
have to
like,
bid.
if you get those players, you can never be beaten. Is that what it
Well, let's
is?
just put it this way: if my I was playing my wifey who doesn't play the game, and I had sucky players, and she had these guys, she might beat me.
All
It kind of
right.
evens
Okay.
the
Cool.
playing field,
Of
you
course,
know.
because it's like invincible. Whatever. I mean, if he's invincible, that means he can just like take
Yeah,
anybody.
but Endgame's even better. But in this case, the Jordan Invincible is better than the Jordan Endgame, which because of they changed some of his moves, like the typical Jordan dribble moves and his shooting. They changed it for Endgame, which is they thought was an improvement, and all the players complained. All the 2K players complained and said, "Now he sucks. Now his best card sucks because they changed, you know, his moves and stuff that everybody liked already." So
Right.
sometimes change is good, sometimes change is not. So I guess this is related to Chat Reyes. Maybe people just want
Okay.
change, regardless of what
Because okay,
happens.
like if you're coaching, okay, there's this movie I saw, right, and it's like Blue Chips. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
movie,
Nick
but
Nolte with Shaq. I saw
Nick
that.
Nolte, yeah. So
Penny's
it's
there too. Yeah, I saw that a long time ago.
it's a nice
Good
movie.
movie.
I know it's just
Good
a
movie.
movie. It's not real life, but it kind of made sense to me at least because he said like I'm gonna tell the other team what we're gonna do exactly because it's not what you do, it's how you do it. All
Hmm.
right. If you do dribble drive offense, dude, if you're really doing it good, I don't think you can be
What about the
beaten. You know what I'm
triangle
saying?
offense? Everybody knew about
Right?
that. Even used it with the Lakers, and it still worked,
Right.
right?
Right. So if you can execute it effectively, it doesn't matter what kind of offense you run, right? If you
Hmm.
can execute it effectively, doesn't matter if it's a double dribble offense, a triangle offense, whatever, a one-on-one offense, whatever. I mean, if you have the talent and if you can execute it properly, like I don't think that would be an issue,
Maybe because it
right?
wasn't executed properly anymore. Like I said,
Well, he's
people
not the one
were.
executing it; it's the players. If the players can't execute it, what can he
Good
do?
point. Good point. Yeah, well, he has to execute them.
And you put the blame on Chat. He's not taking the shots, right? Chat's
Wait,
not
wait.
taking the shots.
Hold on. I have to check if the middle name, last name of Chat Reyes is Lucero. Because
Why am I? No, no, I'm.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know. I mean, I totally get your point. I totally get your point. It's like what happened with Deontay Wilder, the heavyweight boxer who lost for the first time in this second fight against Tyson Fury of the United Kingdom, and Deontay Wilder blamed it. on his costume that he was wearing while he was doing the walk-in, and he blamed it on his one of his longtime trainers, very trusted trainer, who threw in the towel because he said he was going to survive that barrage and onslaught, and that he didn't want the fight to be stopped. So he fired the guy, and the guy said, "Well, I might have saved his life or saved him from concussion, and now and he fires me." So people were like saying, "Hey, the trainer did what he did because he cared for the boxer, but the boxer didn't appreciate it, let his pride get in the way, and he fired the guy." So when he hired another trainer, he thought he was gonna beat Tyson Fury now because he's training differently now and all that. Dude, he got knocked the f out. I mean, he lost even worse. He got. I mean, at least with that other fight, during the towel, there was an excuse for the ref to stop. He didn't. He wasn't down on the
I
on the
know.
floor. I mean, on the canvas.
It's like what?
So
Okay. Um. Freddie Roach would always say, boxers or who like they have habits. They've like they have these things that they do, and they can never really run away from it because it's what they do. It's who they are. It doesn't matter who they train with. They're gonna go back. They're gonna go back to their default,
true
features,
that. That's
right?
true.
So
That's true.
like, I mean, that's why they say like Manny Pacquiao is like once in a lifetime athlete because he can he can make those adjustments and whatnot, and like he's open to anything. But there are people like, for example, what was his name, the one who got knocked out, the white guy
Uh,
from England,
he got knocked out. Tyson
Hatton,
Fury. Did he?
Ricky Hatton,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. Ricky Hatton.
Ricky
Yeah.
Hatton, right? So he was
Hmm.
predictable. Freddie Roach was
He
like, all
was.
right,
He
he's gonna do
was.
this. If he's gonna do this, he's gonna get knocked out, and he got knocked out because he did it. He should
Hmm.
have boxed Pacquiao, but no, because he's a slugger. You can't slug.
Hmm.
You can't slug it
He
out with
couldn't. He
Pacquiao.
couldn't change. I mean,
No, right?
his pride got in the way. Like, but once he saw Pacquiao like fighting toe to toe with him, he's like, yeah, he tried to go toe to toe Pacquiao. That's how he
Right,
get knocked
knocked
out.
him out. All right. So I mean, doesn't matter. I mean, come on, doesn't matter what kind of. I mean, everybody has a plan until you get hit. That's what Mike Tyson said.
So
We
that
all
was
have
out
a
of the
plan.
hands of the trainer. Even the
Right. Yeah.
trainer was so mad at him, and his trainer was Floyd Mayweather's dad.
Exactly.
He was like, "Why you doing that? Couldn't you attack? Why you home?" The guy could barely say it, talk
Right.
clearly. And I'm not blaming that guy. I'm blaming Ricky Hatton for that loss. Even with
Right. But
De La
anyway, all
Hoya.
right.
Even with
Yeah.
De La Hoya when he
True.
lost
True.
to
I mean,
Pacquiao, you
yeah.
blame De La Hoya.
It's not
Definitely.
so that's just me. So that's why I'm really surprised why they're like, I'm having a feast on this, and they're like,
Okay.
just dumping it on Chat, and it's like, well, what, like who do we have? Like,
And
do
also
we have
a
Luca on the
bandwagoner
team?
thing?
I think
No.
so. I think they're bent like
We have dude, we have
that
Scotty
being the
Thompson.
case.
We have Scotty Thompson with that new shoes of his. Blame it on the shoes. Scotty Thompson, New Balance, World Balance. Hold up.
The World
And
Balance
so,
guy.
so we're talking about bandwagoners, right? So I guess that's kind of somewhat of a bandwagoner issue as
It
well, where
is. It
people
is
people
because
start
people are just
hating
like,
as a group. People
yeah,
start hating as a group,
they're just
right?
like
Without
talking
knowing the
trash.
details.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. That's true. People start hating as a group. It's like you only hear from the side of the one who's talking, but not everybody like to sensationalize things. Not everybody likes to go out in public and air out their dirty laundry. Or in other words, hindi naman lahat skandalosa or skandaloso. So di porque tahimik doesn't mean they're guilty already or that the person being heard is always right. And but people have a tendency to I mean, I don't know with the let's say with the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation. I think she thought because at first everybody was like rooting for her when she first brought it up, and articles were written, and I think people were saying like, Johnny Depp, his movie contracts were discontinued. I mean, he was fired by Disney. He was no longer doing any more of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Everybody actually was the bandwagoners for Amber Heard, and now that it's like maybe I don't know if it's time or maybe because the court deliberation, all that stuff brought it out in the open. Now kind of everybody knows what's up. And Disney now, right? Like you mentioned, was trying to get Johnny again, and Johnny said he would never work for Disney for how much and how many alpacas or something like that. So
Right.
that's kind of like a bandwagoner issue too, right? Where everybody was like on Amber Heard's side, and then when all that stuff about Amber Heard came out during the court sessions, all of a sudden everybody's like switching sides and like saying, oh, she's this, she's that, and go and I hope Johnny wins this case or whatever. I'm sure a lot of those people were probably rooting for Amber Heard at first. I mean, it's usually the case, right? If it's a domestic abuse case. But yeah, that's sort of it. Apparently, Jordan Clarkson will play for the Philippines in future tournaments. Remember when you brought this up about like the Philippines football
Mhm.
team, female football team?
Right.
Um, yeah. So Jordan Clarkson will play for the future tournaments. I mean, we also have Jalen Green, Patrick. I think he was also willing to um to be a part of the. But the thing is, I don't know, man. I mean, like I said, uh, if let's say the U.S. like what said during our last episode, if let's say the U.S. team would say we want you to play for us, Jordan, he got that offer, from the U.S., which he is a citizen of. I'm pretty
Jordan
sure he would.
Clarkson will drop us like a potato, no doubt,
Philippines?
no
What
doubt.
Philippines? What Philippines? I mean, maybe Jokoy. Maybe Jokoy would definitely probably I think pick the Philippines because his mom is he's close to his mom. His mom's like he's gonna get his ass kicked by his mom if he says if he sides with his
Yeah, but
American
maybe
son.
probably not. I mean, have you heard him talk about the Philippines? He even talking about like, do you know how much a comedian make in the Philippines?
That's true. That's true. But you know
Like,
what? In fairness, he brought a lot of Filipino comedians too with him. He made them open his show. Even a DJ that was from the Philippines, he brought them in to open for a show. So it's quite supportive, and
yeah, I
and,
mean,
and
people who are already in America that are Filipinos, not Filipinos.
that's true. That's true. Because it's only funny because we're all looking at it as if like, we don't do that stuff because like we're from the States,
Right.
right? It's funny, right? But to us, it's like he's just talking about normal stuff that we do. There's nothing funny about that, right?
True.
He just makes it
I
sound
mean,
funny
see,
because
like I talk about shit. I talk about shit in the Philippines. Like for example, the toilets. Our toilets suck, right?
yeah,
And I make fun. I make fun of it. And because I'm a Filipino, I'm from there. People can't, like accuse me of being like whatever, right? If other people would talk about it like that, that would really be, tasteless and shit. But because I'm a Filipino and I'm from there, and I can talk about these things, and um, that's just the thing. My daughter growing up here, like, dude, she's Filipino. Like we're both Filipinos. She's full Filipino, right? But
hmm
her being born here and growing up here, like I don't think she'd, you know what I'm saying? I don't think she'd be thrilled
she's
to go
not.
home and like,
She's
right?
not. She's
Like with
not.
all with our toilet situation in the Philippines, I'm not
She's
even
not.
thrilled. I'm from that place, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
trade it for like, no, I'm staying
Let's
here.
be
I'm staying
realistic.
here for the toilets.
Let's be realistic. I remember coming back home after just a few years in the States, when I went there for high school and stuff. And I came back to the Philippines and I wasn't even gone long. I mean, you've been gone like twice as long as I have being in Japan for 14 years. I was only there for what, 7? And but when I came back, you know, and it was the old Naiya. It was the old Naiya airport with all the like wooden whatever. It wasn't. Well, it's probably the same thing now, but I think they rehabilitated that airport already since then. But right when the plane landed, I already was looking out. I was like going, "What is this? Oh crap! What the heck is this?" And I know that's coming from somebody who was like I was 17 years old or 18 at the time, and being at that stage in my life, very immature and kind of judgmental and all that stuff. But realistically speaking, though, coming from a first world country, whether it was the U.S., Singapore, Japan, whatever, and then landing in the Philippines, where what the heck's going on here? It felt like maybe it felt like let's say somebody landing in. I mean, not to diss India or anything, right? But for sure, India will introduce you to a lot of different experiences. If let's say you're not from Asia, see people like hanging on the train and all that stuff. People nearly dying, trying to commute.
Yeah, but then we have that in the Philippines. That
I
would
know,
be
so it's not a
that wouldn't be
shock
a
for
shock for us.
us. It's not a shock
So
for
I'd be
us.
like,
It's
all
kind of like
right,
yeah, it's
all right,
kind of like that.
that's a thing. I did that. I would be hanging from the back of a jeepney,
Yeah, jeepneys.
and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
and I had no
exactly,
fear. I was like what,
exactly.
elementary school student? Just like hold on to the rail, don't let go, and you'll be fine. It doesn't
Yes,
matter
that
how,
exactly.
how fast the jeepney goes. It doesn't matter. I'm not scared. But then me
True,
thinking
true.
about that, and thinking
Your
about like
daughter
your
doing it, and
daughter.
your daughter
Yeah, like
being raised there,
no,
and
no,
yeah, I
yeah,
get you. Yeah,
your
yeah,
daughter
you're
doing
right.
that. No, like you think about it and you'd be like, fuck no, Rod's not
No,
gonna do that.
no,
No, over my dead body, right?
yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
Patrick, yeah,
yeah,
we're okay. Public toilets or private toilets, both, man.
both.
Even the public toilets here. If you go to the parks here, the toilets are like they have toilet papers there, and they have like they have running water, and it gets cleaned regularly. The malls, like the
The
malls
only
here,
decent
like
toilets here are toilets at the hotels. You know why? Because
right,
they have tourists. They have people from
yeah.
first world
But
countries staying with them.
even then, I've
They're
used Marco Polo's toilets back. Like even Marco Polo's toilets, like it
has
doesn't
issues
even compare to the local malls
like a
toilet
McDonald's
here in
toilet.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, McDonald's toilet here, like it's so much better. So see, so it's that's just the case of it's just a case of you know what I'm saying, um, like these people growing up somewhere, like your family and whatnot. They're Filipinos, but they're you know what I'm saying. They're
Yeah.
not really Filipinos anymore because it's a different country they grew up in, and they can be like, "Oh, we're Filipinos. We do all these things. Like
No.
we have this tradition and we have this culture and
No,
our
they're not.
heritage
No,
and shit."
it's not
But
in
yeah,
their
no,
heart. It's not
like
in their system. They don't.
yeah.
Yeah,
But if
it's
you
not.
tell
It's
them
not.
like, "All right, if you're so proud to be, to be Filipino and whatnot, like, would you want to go back to the Philippines and stay there?" And they'd be like, "No, no, no way in hell I would go back there and live there. Of course not." Like, they would say no, man. They
I
can be
agree.
like, "Oh, I'm proud, blah, blah, blah." Like, "Oh, would you like be willing to go back there and live there and forget about your life in America?" And they'd be like, "No, what are you crazy?"
No.
Like they
Yeah,
tell you that.
Filipinos just like to come home once in a while because they kind of they wanna just reinforce in their heads that yeah, I'm working in the States because yeah, it's better there. It's kind
Yeah,
of like
right.
that. It's like they come home to the Philippines. Okay,
You need to
oh,
refresh you need to
everything's
have a
still poor.
reality check.
All my
That's what
relatives
it
are still
is.
borrowing money. Oh, nobody has like bought anything or upgraded their lifestyle. Okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
They
you
just kind
go
of want to
home
make
for a reality
themselves feel
check.
better.
You go
Yes,
home for a
yes.
reality
You make
check.
yourself feel better in case you're miserable there, and you come home here and you're like, yeah, I'd rather work like crazy there, and
Right, right.
whatever, and live in comfort. I mean, regardless of what people say, I mean, we're talking facts here. We're not saying anything that's made up. We're not saying it's not an opinion. Even it's a fact. That there's a reason why there's first world and there's third world, and you don't blame anybody. I mean, you don't blame the people necessarily and say it's because of where we're located, our region, or wherever founded us, whatever. There's no point in pointing blaming or pointing fingers and blaming people, but it's just that you can't also blame people who have a different perspective and associate it immediately with being non-Filipino or hindi na nationalistic, hindi na patriotic or what. That has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with
Right.
it.
Okay, going back to bandwagon or bandwagoners, getting married. That's that's some sort of a bandwagon thing, right? Like people like okay, let's get married. Like it's not it's per generation. There would be like like it generation or it could be like um like we have what we call batches, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
every batch, like for some weird reason, people don't understand that when they talk about like, oh, that person's my batchmate because they don't like
Mm-hmm.
what's a batchmate? Well, somebody who's like in the same year level and they still don't get it. Like, all right, like you mean same class? I'm like, "No, well, it's a batchmate. All right, so a batchmate is like you're in the same like age range, same year level when you were whatever, right? But okay, like it's a batch thing. So we have like batchmates and shit, and they all start getting married, and people are getting scared. Oh, everybody's getting married. I gotta get married. You know what I'm saying? I have to get married because everybody's getting married, and they're scared. That's also a sort of bandwagon, and don't fall for that. Like I've been telling everybody, like no, I mean that's not like bandwagon is not that bad, but this type of bandwagon, getting into it just because like everybody's like doing it,
Mm-hmm.
don't do it because it's a different shit. It's not a basketball team that you're rooting for. It's not like you like a boxer or an
Mm-hmm.
actor or a movie. This is
Mm-hmm.
your life we're talking about. You don't have divorce yet,
That's
so
right.
this can change your life.
That's right. It's yeah. That's also a bandwagoner thing. I mean, people watching Provinciano. That's a lot of people there probably couldn't care less about
It's
what happens to
yeah,
that
it's not life
Cardo guy.
changing. I mean, if you get on it or if you're not into it, that's fine. But like for example, these things that affects your life, oh man, this is a different story. Like getting married and shit.
Even eating like at restaurants, certain places, like I mean, I guess it's easy to kind of mistake a fad or a trend for being a bandwagoner. But in a way, it's kind of connected to that.
It's kind
Like
of
you can be
similar.
a Rather has a problem with provinciano. Of course, I have a problem with. I mean, I don't have a problem with it because I don't necessarily
What's your
watch it.
problem with Provinciano, man? What's your problem
I,
with
I
Coco Martin?
I don't even have a problem with it because I don't even watch it. And I don't know what's going on. I can't really say anything negative about it. It's just that I don't know. Like you just have so many options now. I don't know that that's like you know. I mean, it's like it's one of the reasons why certain countries and certain people and certain you know yeah, it's just certain situations and certain whatever conditions remain the same. It's because people keep doing the same thing. You know, it just hinders growth. And I'm not the most adventurous guy in the world, but I know enough to kind of say that if I pick something, it's out of a selection. People who watch shows like that, they don't even have a selection. They don't even entertain the thought of checking out something else and maybe you know what I'm saying? I understand, like maybe people like Patrick, he probably watches it just to dumb himself down. Like I watch Tito Vic and Joey movies. I watch Enrique Guestas movies, but I'm not watching that because like I'm engrossed and I'm into it. I watch it because it kind of, you can't be watching CNN all day. You can't be watching, all these talk shows and all these documentaries all day. It's boring. You got to dumb yourself down too.
Right.
But
Okay. Here's one thing that will
it's
make you
not.
happy. By the way,
There's
it
more.
ends in 3 weeks finally.
It's not.
What do you mean it's
Oh
not? It's
wow.
ending in 3 weeks, so you'll be happy.
It's not because they're gonna have a continuation of it, but it's going to be called Ang City Boy.
They're gonna have a different like TV drama that stars
finally, the
Coco
pro-
Martin and
finally
the
the
same plot.
provinciano is a Titi Boy. Ako, ang Titi Boy. So he's like, now he's in the city, right? So, and then before you know, he's going to go abroad. Ang Balikbayan, ang OFW, right? That's going to be the third in this Coco Martin thing, ang OFW. So then after that, ang Balikbayan.
Hard
It's
de
never gonna
har R.
it's never gonna end. I'm telling you, I bet you there's gonna be another one because they know that when Provinciano was so successful. Dude, you think come on, you think Filipinos are gonna move on? I mean, from something that's been so successful, right? Come on, right? It's gonna be the same freaking thing. I mean, there are malls for crying out loud. May sari-sari store pa rin, right? There are fast food places, may karinderya pa rin. There's always a need for things like that as long as people patronize it. So watch out, ang city boy. Or as Coco would say it, ang titi boy. Ako, ang titi boy.
Let's wait and see how Provinciano ends. Yeah,
A
fair
bus
enough.
will a bus will explode, Nanay Magda will cry, and people will say that he probably got out of the bus in time. Same banana, trust me. Or yeah, it's gonna be like he gets thrown over the bridge or something, but his hand will show up in the end. There's no way it's gonna end peacefully. Like you're just gonna ride off into the sunset. It just doesn't happen with Pinoy movies. There's always, I mean, especially something like how old is Coco Martin? You think? I mean, how old is he? He's
I have no
younger
idea.
than he's younger than both of us. He still has a lot of miles ahead, so he's still gonna be doing that stuff, man. Ang titi boy, watch out. Okay. Yeah. See, even CJ agrees with me, and he never agrees with me. This guy. I mean, and I appreciate that because the kid has an opinion. CJ, have you ever been a part of a bandwagon? Like, for example, I know CJ is not really into sports, but let's say like a manga or an anime or some sort of series or something where, like, let's say Naruto or Dragon Ball or some popular crap like that, and you're not really into that stuff, but all your friends keep talking about it, and you're like, all of a sudden, you start reading up on it, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you're wearing the shirt, you're binge watching the whole series, and you know more than your friends do. Too many bandwagons. Okay. What can you say about that, CJ? Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Is it something that younger people fall for more than adults? And what? When does it become a problem? Do you respect people who are bandwagoners? would you argue with somebody who's a bandwagoner? Have you ever had an argument with a bandwagoner, Ice? Like you tell them, "Di ka man fan yan." You know, like
No, because
why?
no, no, I'm not that type. I'm not a hardcore. Like I hate people who are hardcore, who are it's like
Oh yeah, I get you. I get you. I get you. I get you. Like
So
nerdy. They nerd out too much on something,
yeah, I'm
right?
like, so
Yeah,
dude, it's a freaking
that's true.
sport,
That's
right?
true.
Even with
That's
like
true.
this guy who's a big Beatle fan, and I'm a big Beatle fan, right? But I don't really nerd out on
We
Beatles. You
don't
know what I'm
push it
saying?
down people's throats,
Like he
right?
talks about like he talks about like the history. Like I mean, dude, I can sing all their songs and probably in a better tune than you can.
Really?
Yeah, but
I
he
did
was
not know. Okay, what's your favorite Beatles
letting
song?
up, dude. Like when I'm
What?
64, right?
That's
When I'm
hardcore.
64,
That's hardcore.
Yellow Submarine, Here Comes the Sun, Please Please Me,
That's
right? I mean,
hardcore. Those are hardcore.
I grew up with Beatles because my dad's a Beatle fan, and
Those are songs that
and we have a
you know.
multiplex, and like every time I go to karaoke, like whatever Beatles song will come up, I can probably sing it, and like in tune because
Okay,
I listen to this
I'll ask you
almost every
I'll
weekend.
ask you Beatles trivia questions, and
All
not
right.
because you're a bandwagoner, but just to make sure that you're a fan without bragging about it. All right.
Right.
Okay. Who are they suggesting? Who's this person who they're suggesting that he should not make it sad?
What do you mean? It's
Who's
not
the
make it sad.
There's a person that they're suggesting. They suggested that he shouldn't make it sad.
You shouldn't make it sad.
Yeah, the
Like,
Beatles
I don't understand
suggested.
the question.
Like, okay, like there's this person, right? And he kind of wants to make something, a situation sad, but they're telling him, don't do it.
How do you even know what you're talking about? See,
You
I'm a
don't,
fan, but I'm not. No, no, I don't like.
dude.
I don't.
The person is Jude. Jude, don't make it sad. Come on, I'm not even a Beatles fan, and I know it. Come on, oh, jeez, man, come on.
See the big. I told you I don't even understand what you're talking about in your question.
I thought you were a Beatles fan. That's one of their most popular songs. Oh, come on, dude, come on. Okay, one more. Um,
You're funny. You're worse than that guy that I talked to.
okay.
All right,
If
one
you
more.
work, okay, great. If you work really hard, which animal are you compared to?
It's been
If you're
a
a real
hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
arf, arf, arf. See, you know your Beatles. You get you were just intimidated by the first one. Some hardcore. Okay, I'll agree with Patrick. Patrick, we're gonna have this as another topic. Okay, we're talking about bandwagoners today. The next topic will be we're talking about the hardcore. The filingeros. So people will like shut you down because they know everything, or they have their group and they know it, and you don't. You don't belong. There are people who are like that.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
I'm
I
with Ice.
understand, Patrick, right? Like,
So we'll have that.
see, like he's saying, like some hardcore fans look down on the casual fans because these casual fans only know the singles of the band or artist, while the hardcore fans know even the B-sides, hidden tracks from the artist or band. Who gives a shit? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, who cares? Like, for you know what, the B-sides and the hidden tracks, not a lot of people know about it. Only
That's
you.
true.
You're the
That's
weirdo.
true.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. They're B sides and they're hidden tracks because nobody cares about them. That's basically it. And they just found out about it
Yeah,
later
I
and they
was just
thought
like,
let's make money out of it.
and this guy was like talking about like he was, he was like, oh yeah, you go back to your basketball and whatnot. And I'm like thinking like, who does this guy think he is? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like because you know everything about the Beatles? Like, dude, I don't care about their
Exactly.
lives or whatever. Like, I like their songs.
Exactly.
I sing their songs.
I,
I
I
would go to karaoke.
I actually
I
prefer
sing really
bandwagoners more than
good,
hardcore people like
right?
that.
Like,
Because
yeah, hard
I'm a
people like
hardcore retro
they
gamer,
talk
but
about
I
stuff that
don't
I
like
don't even
hate
want to
on
know
people though.
about, right? Like,
Exactly.
oh, John Lennon was so cruel to his kid. Like, I don't like who gives a shit. Maybe he was a terrible guy. I like his
Yeah.
songs. Don't tell me about he was cruel to his kid. I don't want to know about that. I just
Yeah.
like his songs, the songs that he's
Yo,
written.
what did Yoko say when she found out that John Lennon died? Did you know? Because the hardcore fans know.
I don't know.
She said, "Oh no." That's what Yoko said
Oh no,
when she found.
Yoko. Oh no, Yoko.
I mean,
Oh no.
I'm sure that's what she said. Right? I mean, come on, what'd she say? Oh yes, but really, kidding aside, I
So
agree
it's just like,
I
you
agree
know what
with
I'm saying? If
Ice.
you're
I agree with.
nerding out on these things, it's just like, oh come on. I mean, like, what's the point? Like, what are you trying to? like, what are you trying to achieve here? Are you trying to point out that I'm not as hardcore as you are? And what? Like, does that
You're better.
make
You're
you
better.
what? Like, does that make you
You-
like closer to John Lennon or whatever? Okay, Nirvana was notorious with these kinds of fans. Some fans have all the albums, even the bootleg copies of some of their live performance, and I
Well,
just don't get that.
I don't mind them having the
Yeah, I
albums.
know.
What I don't like is like when you mention something about the band or whatever, and they look at you with disgust. Like,
I
please,
know.
like,
Right?
don't
Exactly.
talk about
Exactly.
because you don't know anything. I'm like, you know
Like,
what? You should thank me if you're a hardcore fan because at least they have extended fan base. I would still
exactly.
right.
Exactly.
Even if I'm not a hardcore fan, I'm giving them my money by buying their album. I mean, it's like I thought you loved the group. Don't you want them to continually exist and produce more music and have
Yeah.
income from? It's like it's crazy. I don't. It's
I
like
mean,
going to a
closing your mind to certain things. You know what I'm saying? That's just that's
Mao is
that's kind
kind
of
of like
stupid.
that. Mao is kind of like that. Like Mao, our friend Mao. Mao in a way is like that, but not necessarily with like music, but well, I guess even music too. Because I noticed that when he knows like a song or two, and like it's a hardcore house or trip hop or whatever music, and then like we'll go to a club and it's like a really nice club and they play it. It's like, I like this music by, I like this music by. And then like we end up in some like, sleazy beer house and they're playing that music already. I'm like, sayangan ng song. Uy, galaw ka." He starts not liking it anymore because it's being played or it's being listened to
That's
by like
see,
the
that's
Jolux
elitist,
crowd.
right? That's an elitist
That's
attitude.
but that's exactly what these hardcore people are too. They're elitist as well, but
Yeah,
it's
like
not.
they're
It's just
elitist. Yeah,
not
hardcore people,
money
they're
related.
elitist.
It's
That's what they
yeah, it's
are.
yeah, it's
Like no,
exactly
no,
so.
it's not in terms of money. It's in
Like
terms of
money.
like the attitude. Like
Yeah.
like like what? Like what makes you what so much better than the other casual fans that likes Nirvana? Like, do I
Hmm.
have to have all the whatever live performances they had?
Okay, who's
Like, dude, I
worse?
just
Who's worse like that? The women or the men? I think women. I like the BTS army. Like the BTS army. Come on, like BTS. I mean, come on. I,
no, you know what?
I'm.
The
I was a fan
women,
of
the women,
what?
no, I don't think so. The women are not like that. Most
Really,
of the people
BTS
that I
army? Are you
no,
kidding
I
me?
mean, dude. I mean, they're women. Like it's BTS. They're not really like. I've never met somebody who's like who would but most of the BTS
Really?
army I meet, if they ask you like, "Oh, are you a BTS fan?" Like, "Oh, I like BTS." I'm like, like they're happy. They don't
Yeah,
they don't quiz you on
but if you
shit.
say they suck and they look like freaking
Well, yeah, of
funky
course. I mean,
looking
even if I'm a
whatever.
casual fan, if somebody would like diss them, I'm like, really? Like I would like, why you don't like Backstreet
No,
Boys? Why?
come
I
on,
mean,
dude. They're called the BT. They're army. Like it means if you're not part of that group, you're not. Are you an army? If you're not, you're not. It's like
no,
you're
I
all in or
mean,
you're not.
yeah. If they hate you because you don't like them, that I get. But what I don't get from people or hardcore are like, you like what they like, but for some reason they still kind of diss you for it. You know what I'm
Because you
saying?
don't know enough about it, or you're not as hardcore
Yeah.
as they
So
are.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I have a problem with. If people have a problem with me because I don't like their team, that's completely understandable, and I wouldn't feel offended or anything. You know what I'm saying? If I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm not a whatever team fan, and they'd be like,
But
oh,
you like
you
what they
suck,
like.
man.
But you
I'm
just like,
like,
but that's not at the level that they right. Is
yeah,
that what
and that's what I don't get, that kind of attitude. Because for some reason, they'd be like, no, I'm a better fan than you are. Like, what? We're the same fan of this particular group or whatever. And you're dissing me because, like, I don't know what John Lennon did to his kid or, like,
what
how
Yoko
he
said when
came
she
up
found
with
out
it.
he died? Yeah.
Exactly. Like, whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
these are the things that's just so stupid. Like, they're just like so stupid. I don't have to, for example, like, there are people too, like, no, I'm never going to listen to hip hop because I like rock. I'm like, oh, that's stupid. That's music. It doesn't matter
And
if
then
it's rock.
they'll even tell
It
you
doesn't
like,
matter
okay,
if it's house.
rock, really? I like like I like Eraserheads. They be like, not Pinoy rock. Talking about like classic rock. Oh, classic rock, like Bon
Like I
Jovi.
like the
That's not
Eagles,
even
right?
classic. Like
All
there are
right, yeah.
people who are like that, right? They're
So
so
there,
whatever.
that's crazy. It's like me. I'm like, it depends on my mood. I can listen to anything. Like Bon Jovi, I love Bon Jovi.
But dude,
Like I don't know anything about Bon Jovi, but there are times that I'm in the mood for oh, we're halfway there. Oh, way to go, Sesto. I even screw
okay.
up the lyrics, right? But dude, that's
But
a Bon Jovi
that
song
Zesto one's
nonetheless.
very catchy. But here's the thing. Okay, so you're right. I think a lot of these people who are kind of want their groups to be exclusive, or their knowledge is just so crazy that nobody can ever catch up or level up with them. I think a lot of these people just have issues in general, and it's not necessarily that they're fans of this. I think a lot of them really have no other, like, there's no meaning to their lives except that very thing. And we're kind of, we're guys who belong in many groups. We have friends from many walks of life. We have many interests. So we're not really like hardcore with just one thing. But there are people who are like that, that they don't know how to do anything else, but they're like the
Right.
biggest, like sneakerheads. Dude,
Right.
sneakerheads. I'm not dissing John Starks or any of these sneakerhead friends of mine, because I love sneakers. I appreciate it. You're a sneakerhead, but you're not like a hardcore sneakerhead. You just like sneakers. Sneakerheads, dude, if you go to like a sneakerhead convention and you don't know what you're doing, or you don't know what you're like, if you walk in there and let's say you wear like a regular Air Force Ones, or you wear like an Air Max, like you just bought off the shelf at Foot Locker or something. I mean, I'm not gonna say people will diss you, but you're probably not gonna get a level of respect that, let's say, somebody wearing a Family and Friends Jordan would, which is like a crazy.
What? And that makes them what? Like
But that
better?
makes them
What?
rich. That makes them rich because
Yeah,
that the
exactly. That
Family and
makes
Friends
them
Jordan is
rich.
like about two
I
hundred
agree with
thousand
that. That makes
pesos,
them
three hundred
rich.
thousand.
But
That
I
makes them
mean,
rich.
all right. So that's just an elitist attitude then.
It
Like
is. It is.
financially, like
It
so
is.
that's just like stupid. If that's what
And
it is.
they'll know, like, they'll say like, hey, but I mean,
Yeah, that's
okay,
why I don't like extremes. Like people who are like doing extreme things, and it's just like stupid. Like it's just stupid. Like what you're saying. Like I'm wearing the same sneaker. Like, oh, it's an Air Force One, and like, no, that's not really an Air Force. It is an Air Force One. I
but
have
it's
the
like an
box that
off the
says Air
shelf.
Force
It's,
One.
it's like a commercial release. It's not a limited release. It's not a raffle one. It's not a. They have that thing going on,
I
and
know, and
I
I'd be,
don't,
and
they have breads.
that's what I'm
The
saying. I'd be like,
breads.
and I'm the
They have
weirdo
off
here.
white. Like
I
if it's
would
not
like,
off
I would
white, it
say that.
doesn't
All right,
matter.
and I'm the weirdo. All right,
I know,
fine.
I know, exactly, exactly.
Right?
If you're outnumbered, you'll feel like you're the weirdo. But when you think about it, to be honest, some of those designs that they make a big deal of, yuck. I mean, literally, like I showed it to my wife. My wife's like, "Ew," but literally, dude, like the
I know,
colors are ew. Like, what the heck, man?
right? You can
Even
just
my
like tell
kid
it,
won't
dude,
wear
it's a
that.
freaking shoe. It's a
But it's
shoe.
like,
It's
but
a
it's off
shoe.
white. I
It's
mean, I'm
the
like,
same. Like it doesn't matter. See, this elitist attitude is just like crazy. It doesn't matter if it's a shoe or a car. Like for example, cars. There are a lot of people who are into cars,
crazy. They're
rims,
crazy. Oh,
sound
this is a
system,
V8.
whatever.
This is
And it's like,
whatever. Yeah,
dude, it's a car for crying out. It's just a car. It runs. It takes you to where you.
exactly,
My K car can take me anywhere I want. Maybe not as fast as your car can, but it's the same shit. And
exactly.
you get caught for speeding. It doesn't matter. Like
Okay,
we have speed
so
limits.
is it a good thing or bad thing? I mean, I'm sure for them, it gives meaning and purpose to their lives. I mean, like I said, I told you,
No,
most of
it's
these
not a
people
bad thing. It's not a bad
were
thing.
hardcore.
If they
Is
diss other people because they're not at this, they're not on the same level as they are. That's what I don't like.
What about the PC guys? What about the PC guys? Oh, my like CJ. Oh, my graphics card is a freaking GeForce, blah blah blah. I mean, mine's like a Pentium or whatever the
Right?
heck. We don't.
Exactly. As long as they don't diss me for having like a freaking normal computer, that's totally fine with me. But if they start talking about like, oh, you suck because you have this Optiplex 7010, that's not even a computer. It is a computer. Dell told me it's a computer. No, it's not. Blah blah blah. A real computer is blah 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 blah. Well, I'm just gonna have to say fuck you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
We don't care. I mean, but like I'm kind of guilty of that a little bit because obviously I have several interests. Like I like watches, I like comic books, I like. But you know what? I don't really like nerd out on them, and like I'm actually willing to let people know about it if they want to know about it. I mean, we have like a Dava Watch Club on Facebook, and I pretty much approve everybody there if they want to join in. They don't have to show off their watches or whatever. But and I'm not necessarily a guru of that. But I think the reason why I don't care much about it, I'm not really like hardcore with it, is because, like I said, I have other interests. You know, the people who are super hardcore about certain things, it's because that's the only thing that gives semblance to their lives. Maybe they don't have, a family. Maybe they don't have meaningful relationships with people. Maybe because there are a lot of people like that in the States, because a lot of people in the States live lonely lives. So a lot of people there are like, they're cat people, or they're dog people, or they're computer geeks, or they're,
Yeah.
you know, and they nerd out, and that's it. Like they don't take a bath. Like there's this thing they refer to as touching grass. Like, hey, why don't you touch grass? Because like certain people who like play certain games and do marathons of it and don't go out and have a social life. These people are hardcore. I mean, if you're gonna talk to them about what it is that they're playing, like my son does that to me. Like if he's playing, let's say Roblox, or he's playing like some online game or whatever, and I mentioned something like, oh, is that like what? And he'd be like, no, pa, this is whatever. This is a different kind of shooting mechanics and all that stuff. And I'm like, sorry, excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not part of your Discord, like right? If you're not part of the Discord community, you're a noob. You're casual. So yeah, see, CJ knows about touching grass, and I'm not, my kid's my kid. He's not really like personally dissing me, but like I said, it's just there's a certain sense of exclusivity. But we're radio people, like us. We were radio people, and we think we know a little bit about broadcasting from the years we've done it. Were we ever snobs at it? Did we ever? I mean, we talk ill of other
No, because
people sometimes, but not because of their attitude,
right.
right? The only time we diss
Yeah.
other people, whether it's in the industry or not, is because of their attitudes. It has nothing to do with the fact that we're like, in radio or whatever. So I don't think there's an exclusivity. Like, when people come in and they want to join they want to try being a DJ or whatever, we always welcome them. And we're always, we don't like, nah, you're not porma kid enough. You're not, you know, gifted with a voice enough. So, okay, iPhones versus Samsung from the early 2010s. Even Apple and Samsung traded barbs using their commercials. Well, 2010s, I was like probably using Nokia still.
2010. I didn't have a smartphone at that time. I was using a
2010?
Samsung flip phone.
Oh, I had a BlackBerry, I think. I had a BlackBerry at the time. So it was given to me by Judge, by Attorney T. So
My first smartphone was when, it was after my father died, and it was like, all right, I'm gonna get a smartphone. Because at that time I could afford it. But back then when my father was still sick,
hold up.
I was like, no, I can't afford a freaking smartphone. So I got stuck with the, like the old phones. But yeah, right? I mean, don't you think it's stupid if you're too extreme about certain things, right? I mean, can't just a person like something because they just like something, and they don't have to nerd out on it? 'Cause, yeah, because I met this one person. I was just like, it made me think. It was like this guy's weird. I was like, oh, what do you really know about the Beatles? I'm like, dude, I don't really have to know about the Beatles. I like their songs. I sing their songs. I can probably sing it better than you can. And he's just like talking about about Paul McCartney and whatever. Like, who gives a shit? Like their lives, their personal lives, I don't give a damn. The music that they play, they're awesome. The concerts that they have, they're awesome. I don't need to know about the other things. Like who was the inspiration of the song? Who gives a shit about the inspiration of the song? I don't give a shit. I just like the song. I don't need to know the history or the background of that song. Maybe some people need to know about it. I don't. Samsung fanboys. All right, let's go back to Patrick. Samsung fanboys make fun the Apple fanboys for camping out whenever there is a new iPhone, right? I mean, yeah, that's kind of stupid too, like camping out. But I mean, I didn't really have an issue with that. So like, all right, you want to camp out? Like, you want to be stupid? All right, cool. All right, you want the iPhone, whatever. These fans probably believe that the original Paul McCartney is dead, and the one that we have now is a clone. I heard that too.
Dude, what about Elvis
People-
fanatics? What about Elvis fanatics, dude? Come on. Like they go to McDonald's and they go, "Oh, give me one of those Big Macs." Yeah. I mean, what the heck, man? Come on. Right? Well, I've never really heard anybody do that, but I'm pretty sure there are Elvis fanatics out there who talk like that. Yeah, you want some chicken nuggets on my blue suede shoes? Oh, what's his name? The dad of Rufa, right? Isn't he a hardcore Elvis fan? Eddie
Eddie
Gutierrez?
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but
Up to now,
but
may
he wasn't.
patilya pa rin.
It's not. It's okay to be a hardcore fan as long as you're not like dissing other people for not being as hardcore as you are. I'm not saying that being a hardcore fan is stupid. No, what I'm saying is the attitude towards other people that some of these hardcore fans, um, you know,
It's like
manifest or
it's like
you know,
nobody has
right?
the right anymore to enjoy what they're enjoying. I mean,
Exactly.
come on, what are you
Right.
talking about? You're not the
Right.
band doesn't even know you. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I hate. It's not them being hardcore, but how they respond to other people who are casual fans and they diss them, right? The kind of attitude that they show towards them, that's just disgusting.
You know
Like
what's
you
crazy?
should be happy that they like it too,
In the
right?
UK, the fans of like several football clubs there. Like if you're a Man U fan, if you're a Liverpool fan, if you're those people like kill each other. Literally like my sisters would argue over. I'm like, you're not even from the UK. What the heck's wrong? You people are not even British. They probably wouldn't want you around if you were watching the games or whatever. I mean, but some people are like that. Some people are
Yeah, fans,
Nora versus Vilma, right?
fans are fighting, and like the players there are like shaking hands and hugging each other. What the fuck are you doing?
I know. And they're the ones getting paid millions. You're not even getting a portion of that. What are you, the campaign manager? What are
It's
you?
like
You're,
funny.
right? It is funny. It is funny. I mean, which is worse. Which is worse than a bandwagoner. I don't really, I don't like hate on a bandwagoner because I don't want to be accused of being one myself. But I've always been like this recent one. There's a song by Kate Bush that's been around for so long. And I remember my dad having the CD and used to listen to it all the time. And nobody ever cared about it. Nobody knew who Kate Bush was. Nobody. And it got popularized by Stranger Things. And now all of a sudden, like you hear that everywhere, and it's like it's a cool thing now. And the kids all of a sudden are like, "Oh, Kate Bush is great. Her music's whatever," because it was, it trended because of Stranger Things. Same thing with Metallica's Kill 'Em. What is that song? Master of Puppets. Metallica's Master of Puppets. Metallica's Master of Puppets came out maybe mid '80s, and I know my metal rocker friends back in high school were playing that on their Walkmans and stuff. But the rockers here played that, I'm sure, na play na yan sa Horizon and all that. But no one really took notice of it, like the casuals who are not into heavy metal. And Metallica was still underground. And now it was also popularized by Stranger Things. Now everyone's like, my sister tagged me because my sister works for this website called One in Manila, and they're like promoting trends and whatnot. So she's like the online editor of that, and she tagged me on a post, and she said, "I'm waiting for my kuya to post his own version of Master of Puppets by Metallica because of Stranger Things popularizing it." And my sister is not a Metallica fan; she doesn't know, but she was even interested in it, and I replied, and I said, maybe just the opening riff, but not the whole thing. So the bottom line here is, it's easy for people to hate on somebody because they only got into that or they only knew about that because of, let's say, it was like
All right. Okay. Is Rod having internet problems? Okay, Patrick. Let's go to Patrick. Metallica have those kinds of fans as well. The demarcation line for casual fans are those fans who only knew Metallica through the Black Album. I only know one song from Metallica. What was that? What's the title? Say your prayer, little one. Don't forget my son. Like what's the title of that song? Patrick. Enter, enter night. Enter Sandman, right? Enter Sandman. That's the only song I know about Metallica.
what?
Patrick's talking about Metallica, and me, I'm like, I know Metallica because of Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
That's the only song that I know about them. I don't particularly like them, but I like
Oh,
that song.
I'm pretty sure and nothing else matters too, right? So
I
close, and nothing else matters, right?
Matters, yeah, that one I know. But
Okay.
I know that, but I've never really listened to it. Like I don't remember listening to it like the whole song. Or I could have played it, but I didn't listen to it. I could have played it in at the station, but never really listened to it. But at least with Enter Sandman, I actually listened to it just because my classmates were telling me that it's an Antichrist song because of the lyrics. Enter night, exit light, take my hand, never, ever land. I mean, it's like, but then I was like listening to it because like, oh, is this an Antichrist song? Like, it could be, but I'm like, it's also the Black Album. All right, well, I don't know that. I don't know that, but I know a lot of friends back then. They have the Metallica tapes. They have the album, and yeah, me, I was just like, I know about Enter Sandman, and I would have to say it's catchy. It's a good song, and Metallica is a really good band, right? But it's just that I'm not into metal rock, right? I tried listening to it, and God knows I want to, I want to be in that sort of, like, um, zone, but I just couldn't. I just can't get it. Like I can listen to classic rock, folk rock, but metal, it's just not my thing. I guess, right? But I don't know. Is Bon Jovi metal rock? Is he metal or heavy metal? I mean, what's the difference between metal and heavy metal? What? Do I have internet issues? Patrick, are you there? Can you hear me? Because like Rod's messaging me and telling me that I have issues. My internet seems to be. Hang on. Hang on, hang on. All right, let me see. Yeah, my internet's fine. My internet's okay.
I think you have internet issues, dude. I think your internet's a mess because my internet's fucked.
My internet's okay too.
What the heck? You keep getting
Yes, still there. Patrick is telling me yes, eyes are still there. I was trying to confirm. In my opinion, Bon Jovi is the same area with Guns N' Roses. So what are they? Metal or heavy metal?
They're
What's their
pop. I mean,
classification?
they're
Pop
they're
rock?
rock. They're rock. Yeah,
All right,
they're
rock.
yeah.
All right,
I
okay,
agree with
see,
I agree with
I can
Patrick.
handle that.
In
I can handle that. But
in the
metal rock, I can't.
states,
I really can't.
they were called I'm not sure if it was hair metal or hair bands or something because of their hair, because they all had like the long hair, the long blonde. Poison had it, Rat had it, Van Halen had it. All these bands who were not underground. The hardcore ones were Iron Maiden, Metallica, Judas Priest. Those bands were hardcore.
Right.
But bands like Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, my sisters were fans. They had posters of those guys in their walls.
Yeah,
I wasn't
Def
even a fan
Leppard.
of those guys because they're trying to be like the
I
chick
like
boy
Def Leppard.
bands. Yeah,
Only
yeah. I
one
mean,
song, I guess. Two Steps Behind. That's it. That's the only song I know about Def
really?
Leppard.
You don't
Oh
know
yeah.
the other Def Leppard song?
No,
Pour some sugar
I
on
don't know.
me. Pour
No.
some shit. That was like number one in the states,
I know. Yeah, I know that. But
right?
yeah.
Oh
The only
man,
reason why. Yeah, you know what? The only reason why I knew about that song was when I logged into like Pornhub, and there was this like
it
sort of.
played.
Yeah, they played it. There's like sort of like an MTV whatever for like some like porn clips and shit. And that was the song. Pour some sugar. I mean, like, what is
Yeah.
this song? This is so nice. I was like, oh, it's Def
Pour
Leppard.
some sugar
Sugar.
on
So
me.
that's that one and Two Steps Behind.
Pour some sugar on me.
Search for it later. Pornhub. Like it's something there. It's really, really. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a classic. A lot of these songs from these bands, they were popular, but they were not taken seriously by, let's say, the hardcore rock guys. Like it was. You have to understand in the states, where I spent my high school years. The states was so. I mean, I don't know if it's an American thing, and that's just how those people are, but they can't spread their interest in many things. Filipinos know everything. Every Filipino I know knows boxing, basketball, you know, comedy shows, many interests. They read books. Filipinos are the most probably in terms of diverse interest. Filipino is
Right.
probably number one. That's why we can adapt to any country, and we can always start a conversation with anyone. We're jack of all trades, master of none. In the states, most of my American friends there, it's like I have friends who are into Dungeons and Dragons, and that's all they do. I have friends who are rockers, and they hang around. They all wear the same denim jacket. They all have their Metallica shirts, and they all smoke in the parking lot outside of the school. And that they consistently have that uniform going on. They have the long hair. They never change. And I think that's just how a lot of these, American kids are. Because in the States, if you nerd out in something, there's always something available for you to purchase or to avail of. Like, for example, if you're really a fan of Friends, you can actually go online and purchase the Friends Lego set. You can buy all the pillows of the Friends characters. You can buy the whole DVD, Blu-ray, whatever collection of Friends. So it's easy to nerd out on something there and actually surround yourself with all these things, and fanboy or fangirl over it. Whereas here in the Philippines, you can't really afford that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? I mean, if you're like, okay, if you're a fan of F4 during the Meteor Day, the Garden days, What would the girls do? What would the girls do to buy Meet Your Garden, like merch or whatever items? Probably just the fake ones that they sell in San Pedro Street, right? Like parang
Right.
finotocopy lang ng mga pictures nila Dao Mingxiu and stuff like that. They're not even Filipinos are fine with that stuff, and I think that's what I like about the Philippines too. In a way, is that we're not that hardcore, but it's starting. There are a lot of kids now. They're starting. I noticed, especially online. People, kids were CJ's age. I noticed that they're starting. They're starting to have their like exclusive, like we're emo, or we know Japanese anime. We know, I don't know. They have certain things that they're into that we're not. What about coffee? Barista people, beer people. There are groups like that. They only drink home brews when it comes to beer. They only drink certain types of coffee. All of a sudden, everyone's a coffee expert. I don't hate those people, but like what I said, if they start dissing you because you drink Kopiko, then you know I'm not the most expensive coffee in the world. Remember, it's like the shit of what is that animal? Civet?
Hmm.
Do you know that ice? The civet crap? It's like the poop of a civet. A civet is like a wild cat.
Yeah, I heard of it, but I haven't really tasted
That's
it.
the most expensive coffee. So
It is.
I'd rather drink Kopiko, man, to be honest, than that shit. So, anyways, yeah, but that's kind of what I miss too, because like I have friends who are into stuff, but it seems like I know more about it than they do, and I don't even have any. Like for example, let's say I have a friend who's into biking,
Right.
and I know I don't have a like decent bike. I'm not into biking, but what I do is like I read about that stuff and I study it. So when I see a friend and we talk about it, like guns and stuff, I know a lot about guns, but I don't really like fire guns regularly or collect guns. But I nerd out about it. So I have friends who are, let's say, they're into it, they have a collection, but you talk to them about it, like the history, the intricacies of the thing, the hobby. They don't know shit. That's what I noticed about Filipinos. We just like if you're rich, you maybe have 50 Rolex watches and really limited edition timepieces, but you don't know shit about the history and stuff. And they're fine with it. Just because they're rich, they can afford it. That's it. And that's what I noticed about a lot of the Pinoys. You know, um, they if you have money, you can buy it, but they don't really bother to learn about it. Whereas with us, who can't afford the stuff, we can only afford to read about it or watch it online. Three in one is not good enough for them, dude. It's three in one. They only have one. Us, we have three. There's even five in one. I was even offered coffee called Jim's. I think it's seven in one. It freaking has mushrooms and stuff to make your dick hard. I mean, come on, what the heck, right? I mean, how can Starbucks beat that, right? Does Starbucks have
Can make your
anything?
dick hard.
Dude, I'm not kidding. The guy was selling me a box, and he said that
You should have told the guy, dude, it's not.
you
I
know,
don't need coffee. I need a girl. I need a
dude, you
woman.
know, you knew who the guy,
I need a lady.
the guy was that was Yoyong, dude, the late Yoyong Tan, our
Right.
tech at
Martires.
good friend. No, no,
Yoyong
Yoyong
Tan.
Tan.
Yoyong Tan. All right.
You, but this is a comedian, right? Is that a comedian?
He's a comedian.
Bisaya
Martires.
guy.
Yeah. Always screams. Always yells at people.
It has, yeah. He's telling me about this stuff. I'm like, okay. So when I'm drinking coffee, I'm thinking, my dick gets hard. Now I have a problem. Now I have to find a woman. Anyways, I mean, it's like it seems like they're banking on the fact that you start to doubt if the coffee's good, because if they're telling you that the selling point of the coffee is that it makes your dick hard, dude. Okay, but can
Right.
you wake me up? You don't. Well, if you can wake your dick up, it should be able to wake you up. But like me, like I'm wearing a Ferrari hat. Like this Ferrari hat was given to me by my brother-in-law. I think he bought it at Ferrari World in Dubai, wherever. If somebody who's a hardcore Ferrari fan or follows Formula One racing sees me wearing this and it's like a real merchandise, I might get dissed for it. Like, I'd be like, "Ba't may Ferrari ka ba? But do you follow the Ferrari team in Formula One? Do you know how many wins Schumacher has? Do you know?" I'm like, shit, come on. You've never even seen Formula One racing in real life. Have you, Ice? Have you gone to Singapore for that?
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Anyways, does Japan have
It.
it? Does Japan ever host the Formula One?
I
F1?
think because they have some people are into it here, but it's not it's not as popular as it is. I think in Singapore or in the Philippines.
It's yeah in Malaysia too. I think Malaysia one time or several times they had they hosted the Formula One. Malaysia, Singapore. I don't know what other Asian countries, but regardless, I'm like, you know, I know a little bit about it. I'm not really hardcore. So, have you ever been confronted about anyone who is super knowledgeable about something and you felt like he made you feel like a lesser person, man or woman?
Um, like I told you, that guy from from camp, and we were talking about like something, and
Beatles.
they started talking about the Beatles and shit, and he said something of that sort, and I was just like what the? I was just like, oh, this guy's weird, and they were like, you know, getting on it, and they were talking about it, and they're like so into the conversation. I was just like, oh, this is like stupid. They're talking about like the whole history and whatever, and it's just like, dude, you're taking the fun out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Songs, Beatles, band, songs. We're not talking about like who wrote whatever or how it came to be written.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
they're songs. You listen to it and you sing it, you enjoy it, then you forget about it. You don't stress on it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, so to me,
The-
it's
the-
just stupid.
These are the people who watch the movies of, let's say, they watched yesterday, and they probably pointed out the inaccuracies of whatever that movie was, or maybe they're Potterheads, and they didn't like the new Dumbledore after the first two movies or whatever. I'm like, come on, like, do I really have to know everything about everything that I watch? Right?
Exactly, exactly.
That's why I'm watching it, so I'll know more about it. Then I'll make up my mind. Like the Twilight people, like my sisters, both of them went crazy over Twilight. And I'm like, I watched it, but I'm not a girl, so I'm not gonna fall in love with Edward Cullen. I mean, the heck, these are like vampire. I remember Pinky was the first one to introduce me to Twilight. She was reading the book in the booth, and I'm like, "Oh, what is that, Pinks?" And she goes, "It's about vampires that don't have teeth, or like they don't really." I'm like, "Really?" Like, and she's like, "It's hard to explain," but she was reading Twilight already, maybe a year or so before the movie came out. So she's hardcore. Like she knew about Twilight, but she never once ever bragged about her knowledge of Twilight. She never once said something about the movie during our show or whatever that was inaccurate or whatnot. She never said anything like, "Oh, all these people now watch Twilight." But I read about. She never mentioned anything like that. So Pinky's cool. I mean, immediately you can tell a lot about a person when they know a lot about that stuff,
Hmm.
but nobody does, right? That
That's true. That's true. That's totally true.
Like you, I didn't know you were a hardcore Beatles fan. No, you never told me about it. But I bet if you went to a video, okay, you'd probably sing those songs flawlessly, and I'd be like, "Wow," because you never really mentioned. I mean, you could have worked for what's a station that plays Beatles songs, all these songs here in Davao.
100.3.
What is that?
RJ.
W Rock. Or- W Rock doesn't play that stuff, right?
No, they don't. Like maybe I don't know if they have a special program for that on like certain days, like for example Sunday.
Kadlawon, No, Beatles is not Kadlawon music, right? Kenny Rogers is, but Beatles is not. Right? Kenny Rogers
No,
is
no, no, no.
Kadlawon. You know,
It,
na 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 friend, na 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 na, that's like 3 a.m. music.
that's a
And the
3 a.m.
security
music.
guard, the security guard's going, I mean, why play that music when it's like 3 a.m.? Oh, because pampatulog. Movie
I guess
fans
so.
versus
Yeah.
comic book fans. Oh, I'm not even gonna go into that, Patrick. I don't want to. In my opinion, the growth of the coffee culture is good because these boutique coffee shops support the local coffee farmers, paying them at sustainable prices. The big sachet brands allegedly have bad business practice towards these farmers, like they buy coffee at super cheap prices. I mean, yeah, I've had to agree with you on that, Patrick. But probably the local coffee bars, not necessarily like the big ones. Like I'm sure Seattle's Best and Starbucks get their coffee in Colombia or something, and certainly not wherever it is that we grow here in the Philippines. I'm assuming, and people will always kind of support the bigger names. Okay, so are we good?
Yeah,
When
yeah.
when is our next show?
What, Monday?
Yeah, we can do Monday. We can do tomorrow if you're up
Yeah,
for it.
I'm cool tomorrow. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
Because I'll confirm so that if anything comes up on Monday, then at least we've done a show on Sunday because it's Roger's exam week. So
All right, we can do tomorrow.
We're gonna be reviewing Monday night
So what are you
tomorrow.
going to talk about?
It's up to you, man. I'll let you decide because this one was kind of this was a mutual decision. We already talked both the hardcore fans and the bandwagoners, so we covered those bases already. What about? And we've done turnoffs already. What's okay? Too much of a good thing. Can that be a topic?
Too much of a good thing?
Yeah, too much of a good thing. Like
Uh,
too much of a good thing. Like it's a good thing, but it can be bad in excess. I mean, like overprotectiveness, right? Or being too clingy. It doesn't have to be forms of affection. It could be um pwede bang masobrahan sa gulay?
no, I
Can you
don't think
actually
so,
like
man.
develop a condition from eating too much vegetables? Do you like start
Well,
going
I don't know.
meh? Right?
Probably
Can you
certain
overdose on
vegetables.
vegetables? Could you? I mean, could you actually like? Could it cause you harm? Because vegetables has pesticides, dude. I mean, all these veggies go through sprays and stuff. So,
Well, it could be.
right? Too much of a good thing. Like traveling too much. It's a good thing, but it might take its toll on you not being able to decide where you actually want to settle, or a job that you enjoy too much, but you're no longer growing. I don't know. It's up to you, man. You can change it. It could be too much of a good thing. It could be. If you have any suggestions, we're open to it. We already did the best advice your mom has ever given you, right? We've done this.
Yeah, the advice thing we did. We did. We already did.
Um, things you do not want to know. Things, yeah, things you do not want to know. That's actually interesting. There are things that we do not want to know. We're curious about, it, but we don't want to know. Like, do you want to know how your parents made love? Right,
Of course not. Yeah.
right. Those are things you don't want to. Okay. What other certain things do you not want to know? How your teacher computed your grades? What your friends are talking about you when you're not there? There's already several. That's one. You can also talk about a life changing experience, and you were never the same again after.
Yeah.
Uh,
That.
it's up to you, man. Reacting to embarrassing situations. Have you ever had a health scare? What's your worst traits? Is it okay to talk about exes with your significant other or the past?
Mm,
Um, something you know but wish you did not. Should you? Okay, better. We already had this too. Better friendship, men or women. So if you guys have any suggestions, man, feel free. All right, share away. So Sunday tomorrow.
tomorrow. Tomorrow. All right. Okay. So no particular topic yet, but all right, we'll find something.
Let's
Right.
try to. I'll try to PM Amy or Carol and see if
Right.
we
Yeah.
can.
See if we can have them over. Right.
Okay. All right. All right. So we'll talk about because there's this issue about like how some women like it's like make it like a battle of the sexes in a way. Like how some women they look at they look at guys who are. I mean, it's. Have you heard of this guy named what's that Tate guy? Andrew Tate. There's this guy named Andrew Tate. He's an
Mhm.
MMA fighter. He's a rich dude, and he talks about all these like male issues in a very frank and kind of brutally honest way. Which a lot of it I
Right.
agree with, but he says it to women. Like he has a show and he has women guests, and they always argue about it, and he always ends up kind of like rebutting them and just telling them, like, "Yeah, you want this guy to be perfect. You want this guy to be whatever. You want the perfect guy. You want a rich guy. You want whatever guy." And he goes like, "Yeah, but if you think you met a guy who's rich, who's perfect, who's whatever, you think he would settle for someone like you? Like he would say something like that, and the
Mhm.
women, and the women would be obviously be offended. But there's truth to it,
Right.
right? So we'll see if the girls can't join. We'll just do the show ourselves. But I'll message Amy and
Right.
confirm.
Okay. So yeah, Patrick. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow. And those who joined with us tonight, thanks a lot. Yeah, pretty busy this week and next week. Lots of things happening. Snow's also pretty busy with some summer homework too. I mean, it's not like in the Philippines when it's summer you have nothing. Here,
Oh, you have summer
they just like,
homework?
dude, because it's in the middle
What?
of the term. It's not the end of the school year. It's the middle of the. It's the end of the first term. So you have second term coming up. So they just drop tons and tons of homework. So it's
So
just
she's on
crazy.
her break, right?
She's on her break, but not technically because she's like just
She has
busy with
ho-
projects and shit.
Okay, let me ask you
So
about their homework there compared to their homework here. My son's homework is like the bagul bagul thing and like recording videos and stuff.
she has to do
Folding.
something like that, like a sort of a project. So it's like arts and crafts. She picked that one out. She has to do a book report. Then she has like those the summer book that she has to do, and she has like the summer prints that she has to deal with, and they
Can you
have
be
to.
honest? Does she really do it
And
or do you do it?
no, she we like they do it together. My wife and her does it, and she needs to take care of a plant. So there's just like so many things to do. Like she needs to take care of like her plants and shit. So she has
Oh yeah,
like a daily routine that's basically like sort of like being imposed by the schools here.
got it.
So they want you to wake up early. You have the radio taiso, like you have to be at the park at 6:30 with all the other kids to do that community
Whoa,
exercise.
real?
Like if you've seen Chloe, that sort of thing. Like
Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
everybody's there and like doing the exercise, like we have that.
And
So
is there's
everybody's
attendance for that? Like if she's not there, she gets what? What happens? She gets.
well,
She gets.
not really, but you don't get the seal. It's kind of like, well, you don't
Oh,
have to, but then you don't get the seal.
what's
You
their
know what I'm
grade
saying?
system there? Is it number two? Is it like 75 failing? What's the grade system? Grading.
No,
You're a
here it's
teacher,
like
so
like, no. I mean, it's not even that. Like here, it doesn't matter even if you like fail your all your tests, you still go to the next year level. It's fine. It's not like in the Philippines when you're when you're
you go
lagging,
back.
you go back. No, it doesn't happen here. You can be absent for like 3 months and you still go to the next level.
Really? What the
Yeah,
heck then? I mean, hey, what that so
this
so
is
how can you
this
trust
is
your
until
employees that you hire?
the junior high.
That's
So high school, they
crazy.
they kind of like get so serious. But well, I mean, they're more of like, well, it's like let's because like I said, we are not an individualistic society. It's more of like collective. We do it together. We go up together. We
Yeah, no, but I
go
mean,
together.
what about like when they seek employment later and they actually skipped all that stuff and they still passed? You know, like
That's
they
why
don't know how
there's
to read. They don't.
that's why they're highly industrialized. Because some people are like, no, I'm not gonna go to college. I'm
Got
just
it.
gonna
Got it.
work like
There's always
and
a
they have
job for anyone with a
yeah,
particular skill. I got
exactly.
it. Got
Like
it. I
no, I'll
got it. I
just
got
work
it.
at
You're right.
KYB.
You're right.
You
You're
finish
right.
high school and they're fine. Like, all right, I can work at KYB. I
I mean,
can
the
get a regular
factories
job
alone
there.
there, the countless
Yeah,
factories alone. I mean, you don't really need to know,
right.
rocket
And
science for
they
that.
and it's not even like it's not like there in the Philippines that we have that stigma of like, oh, you're working a factory and shit. But yeah, it's not like no. I mean, this is what I want to do. I want to be, I want to drive trucks. Like those big trucks for what do you call
That's
those
good. That's
logistics,
good.
right?
That's
So
good
I
that they
mean,
don't have that
you do
classification of
not
success.
need a college degree for that, and these guys are getting paid just like fairly. They get
So, what is
bonuses and shit.
success? Let's say career wise, what is success? How is it defined in Japan? Like for here, it's mostly like, oh, you're like you have to be like a doctor, lawyer, whatever. Or you have to be earning
I mean,
whatever.
it's pretty much probably the same, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? It all boils down to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I know a lot of doctors, I know a lot of lawyers are not happy with their lives. And can
True,
you call that success? I don't
true,
think so.
true. I agree. I agree. And
And
I
we can
know a
talk
lot of.
about that.
Yeah,
We
let's
can
talk
talk
about
about
that.
that. Like
Let's talk about that.
let's talk about like okay, it's one of those Philippines versus the world standards. We can talk about this one.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Philippines versus world standards. So Patrick, you better be present tomorrow because
Yes,
we are picking your topic.
that's a
Philippines
perfect
versus
topic.
world
And you
standards.
can talk. You
Right?
can talk in detail about that because you're in Japan, and there are a lot of things there that you notice that works for people there that could work here, and it could be applied here and make people have better self-worth in a way, because a lot of us we're miserable not because we are, but because we compare ourselves to people we think are not, and they might actually
Yeah.
be more miserable than we are. So that's a good topic tomorrow. So how will you title that? Philippines versus the world.
Yeah, Philippines
uh,
versus world
the
standards.
definition of, yeah, okay, there you go, of success, standards of success, standards
Right,
of
yeah.
happiness or whatever. Okay, man, we're hating on our
Yeah, well, it
country,
could
huh?
be anything. Like
Okay, standards
standard
and
of
anything.
success,
Okay,
standard
okay, all
like
right, all
yeah,
right,
right? Because it
all
could
right.
be like Philippines has a better
We'll
standing
just talk
compared
shit
to
on
the
the
world.
Philippines, Patrick. See,
No,
good
no,
for you
no,
both.
no, no,
You're
no,
in
no,
Australia. You're in Japan. I'm here. They can come to my house
no,
and
no,
stone me
no.
to death.
Patrick, here's the thing. Kinda, but there are also some stuff that we are better with compared to the world. So we can also talk about that too. In a sense, that's like Filipino pride, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there is some stuff that we do better than than people here or people
Got it.
in Australia or the US, right?
Got it. And so that's why they have to
So
settle for that. That's why
yeah,
their standards have to be different from ours.
right,
Oh well. Anyways. All right. I mean, in the Philippines, basta may trabaho lang, right? That's
right,
it.
yeah.
I mean, case in
So
point, John and Marcia, right? What does Delia Taytayan keep saying? Yeah, John, magsumikap ka because she's rich. Nida Blanca, your daughter's rich,
yeah,
and then she married John, who was not rich, but he's a hard worker. But she doesn't think of him as one because he's poor.
90% shit, 10% good. I mean, at least we have 10%, right? I mean, at least there's 10%. But well, who knows? It could be 90-10, 80-20. Well, who knows? It could be 50-50. We don't know that. Come on, Patrick,
Depends
man. Come
depends on
on.
our mood, Patrick. Come on. But
Yeah.
I always
It
think
could
when
be
we're too
100
nice,
0, 100 0.
I notice when we're too nice
Yeah.
and we're too politically correct, the show's boring.
Right.
We have something to trigger us. We need it. We need that stuff. So
All right.
tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
We'll
All
do
right.
that tomorrow. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. This has been the OK Show.
8 p.m. Is
Rod
it?
and
Can we
Iceman.
do it at the 8?
Yeah.
Is
All right.
oh,
Okay.
it's up to you. It's
Target
up to
would be
you.
8. Yeah. Well, Target would be 8 p.m. Like I'm taking a day trip tomorrow. So, but we are planning to like really
Okay.
come home early.
No
So it should
problem.
be around 8 p.m.
All right.
Philippine
Just give me a
time.
heads up.
Right.
All
So 9
right.
p.m. over here.
See you.
All right. So thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been Iceman and Rod, and we are out.